show.
I'm ready to do 24 more hours.
That flew by.
What a show. You guys were incredible.
Oh, I got a request.
What's that?
Can I get you to just yell sports one more time? No, you got to yell it. You got to yell it. You got to yell it. Yeah.
I need you guys to bring more energy. I thought you guys mailed it in today.
I did. About 9 o'clock, I started
You guys
whispering.
were pure fire. I had the volume off in my car, and I could still hear you. Maybe I was hearing you all the way across the Bay Bridge, back up at the toll plaza, by the way, and the metering lights are on. But, I mean, you guys were incredible. The heat was on. Glenn Fry.
There you go.
That's a guru. Shout out Guru.
I was going to go D-Wade. You know what I mean? I didn't know what we're doing.
Guru's back today, right? Guru's back, right?
Yeah.
I pulled up on this guy. It was like, 5 in the morning, and it's pitch black dark, and I'm weaving in and out of traffic, and I knew it was the Batmobile in front of me. And I rolled the window down. I'm honking at him. He's in the zone listening to Al Green or whatever the hell he's listening to.
Nice.
It was slow jams this morning. It was slow jams.
And he just rolled his window back up on me.
So you're in favor of the move? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, this is so much fun.
I thought they gave up too much draft capital.
Of course there's risk. Like, I get it. Of course there's risk. But my God, don't we want our teams to go all in like this?
Right.
Isn't this what we live for? That's what I meant by sports. Isn't this what we live for as sports fans?
Come on. No,
Totally.
this is like a drug.
Exactly.
This is like a drug. And
Thank you, Huey Lewis.
And drugs, sometimes they get you on the back end. And this might too. But you're all right. It doesn't matter right now. The sort of the bottom line that we get to is your team just got a great player.
Yes.
And your team is better. The 49ers are better today than they were yesterday. But I'll also add this. They did not really give up what you all think
exactly
they gave up, because a lot of those picks are going to get automatically replenished. Now, you could argue, well, wait a minute, those are going to get replenished anyway, so if you kept them plus the replenishment.
But 11 guys aren't making this team next
year.
You
don't want 100 draft picks. And so if you don't know what we're talking about there, they're going to get all these comp picks. D'Amico Ryans is probably going to lead to 2 comp picks. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to lead to a comp pick, even though that's not till 2024. But this idea of, they gave up their thirds and they gave up their fourth. They already have 2 thirds. They're going to get another third. They're going to be fine with those picks in the draft.
And their core is all signed up.
Exactly. So
if you're a good team, those draft picks mean less because those picks are later picks anyway.
It sort of felt to me like they gave up a 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The capital they gave up was a 2.
Not 2 firsts.
And that's very, very worth it. And then I would also ask this, even if you are into draft picks, and look, we all love the draft. That's become a different piece of content. But go back to last year. The 49ers had given up their first-round draft pick for Trey Lance. As a fan, did you miss it?
That day I did, yeah.
You did?
Well, that day, because it's fun. Balloon, the pick is in.
Right, but
we don't even know who the Dolphins took.
Right.
And that's not to say, I'm not on the Rams' philosophy of give up your first round every year forever.
Exactly.
And the Rams they possibly already are, paying the piper for what they've done the last 5 years. And yeah, the 49ers to a lesser degree might at a certain point too. I'm super interested someday, not today, to know, are they restructuring this deal at some point? How do they sort of reason with $12 million a year for a running back, which they've never done? But what I felt, this group just told this team what they think of them.
Did you see Drake Jackson's response?
Yes.
That's how we were all feeling. I'm saying, like a baseball trade, you walked into that clubhouse and they were like, let's go. Reinforcements are here.
The NFC is sitting there.
Exactly.
The NFC is so gettable. It's gettable. And I think that they looked at each other and they said, let's go get it.
Yeah. And also, my thing is, you can't criticize Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch for blowing the draft and then criticize them for trading draft picks. If they're not good at drafting,
right?
And many people think, they get 1 out of every 4 right. Okay,
keep your fifths. Those are the ones you do well anyway.
Thank you. Keep the late rounders. You're not good at drafting, so go ahead and trade the picks, and you bring in a guy who, and I was telling Joe this, Bonte, during the break, he's a mix of Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. He runs routes like BA, and he can do everything like Deebo Samuel. So now, if you're Kyle Shanahan, you can play 4 running backs on the field at the same time. You can go true eye with Juszczyk and Eli Mitchell. You can have McCaffrey. You got Deebo. I know, that was just one for the gram right there. But you can play so many different packages now in terms of personnel that defenses are going to be totally flummoxed.
I had to close the computer last night because I was getting so giddy watching the Stanford highlights and all the texts Texas routes he ran at Stanford. The first play of the game in the Rose Bowl against Iowa, against USC at the Pac-12 championship, would flip that game.
Baldy or Bonte?
I love a Texas route.
No, well, we think about
Bonte
Shanahan, right?
breakdowns?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love Bonte
The
breakdowns.
A-gap.
And I just closed the computer. I
Mesh
said,
point.
oh my gosh, Shanahan's going to run a Texas route with this guy. He's going to go 70 yards. And you got Debo running all the Texas routes.
Yeah.
But who do you guard? And this is something we were talking about 2 weeks ago when it was like, you know what? Try to steal McCaffrey from Carolina. Let's see how that situation plays out because of the spacing and the opportunities other players are going to get benefiting from Christian McCaffrey being on the field.
They didn't steal him. They got him.
They got him.
They definitely didn't steal
They
him.
acquired him.
And
They
let's
acquired him.
be honest, and I'll support the 49ers in this, but the Rams definitely did make them blink. And I get it.
100%.
I get it. Like the reports are all out there. The other team that was close was the Los Angeles Rams. And there's PTSD here. They took Matt Stafford from the 49ers and they went and won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
And the 49ers looked at it this time and said, and I think the Giants may end up doing the same kind of thing if it's the Dodgers and Giants for Aaron Judge. Like overpay sometimes because this would have been a 1-2 punch. You would have not gotten McCaffrey,
Yes,
and you would have played him next week.
Exactly.
That's exactly what would have happened.
No, you're 100% right.
And they said, we're not doing that.
Here's the other thing. If you really want to get sophisticated, because all these people, draft picks, money, like we love to do this. I can go down this roster right now and in 3 swift moves open up $25 million. Okay? So McGlinchey's making $10 million at right tackle. You let him walk. Okay?
Eric
You let him walk.
Armstead.
Eric Armstead's
Armstead
making
is a
$16
good
million on the inside.
And think about
Javon
Eric
Kinlaw.
Armstead. He's a good player, but in the wins, do you ever say to yourself, boy, they're missing Eric Armstead? The only game you did that was last week, but that was mostly because of both sides.
But Bonte, it's about reallocating where you want to spread your assets. And you can find guys, and they found a propensity, like they did at running back for quite some time. We can find a Givens. We can find a Ridgeway. We can find guys that can offset this. Jimmy Ward's going to come off the books. There's a lot of ways to free up money.
You can just say it right now. Parag Marate.
Exactly.
I mean,
there's
just say
nobody-
Parag.
this is his
Hey,
best
but
team.
Dibs, this was my
There's nobody
situation.
better.
Why
He's
am I
really
saying
good
if-
at that,
If
you know?
at times where I'm trying to win a Super Bowl, I don't need you when I stink. I need you to finesse the cap in times like this.
And the cap's
You
gonna
mentioned
explode.
it earlier. I'm sorry, Bonte. You got quarterbacks making peanuts. You got a
Exactly.
rookie, and you got Jimmy G making almost nothing.
Exactly.
So you have the chance now to make this sort of a
Thank
move,
you.
and it's exciting because now you're all in on this year.
Yep.
Now go do it,
Now
boys.
go do it. Now
Yeah.
go do it. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on Shanahan to go do that.
Yes.
There's no more excuses for him not to go do that
Right.
and put up points. But also the cap's going to explode. The cap's going to go
It's going up, yeah,
We're
you're
gonna
right.
Get a little bit more
Amazon's in the
cheese.
game.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
on, you guys.
important, if you do want to get to the business side of it, important to note that none of the money after this year for Christian
Is
is guaranteed.
guaranteed. Yes.
Therefore,
Yes.
it is a situation where it could be a restructured deal that knocks that number down a little bit. And then that's why I almost think of this as 2 deals. You know, right now we're excited about the message they just sent their roster, which is we actually think you guys can go win the NFC. But this is a second deal also, which is if there's a restructured contract, is Christian McCaffrey your running back for the next 3 years? And is that a huge piece of ushering Trey Lance into being the starting quarterback? Because there's nothing better than having the security blanket of somebody like that in the backfield
Exactly.
with short passes and the running game.
Exactly.
Like the read option with Christian McCaffrey and Trey Lance. Yo.
Getting some RPOs to be able to throw him the
Yeah.
ball and all that. By the way, they're going to keep him. I don't think that this is a rental. He's here for
Agreed.
3 years.
Agreed.
And you think about the history of Shanahan's and McCaffrey's. Kyle Shanahan wore 87 in college because of Easy Ed,
McCaffrey.
Christian's dad. So the familial connection makes it feel like this is not Emmanuel Sanders, which was, you didn't want that to be a rental. It turned out that it was. He's going to be here for the next 3 years. And even this year, if they don't get the quest for 6 done, if you have him coming back, you're loaded again for next year.
And Mark said something about, the Lynch and Shanahan telling the roster, you guys can go do this.
Fires them up.
So I believe that too. So you go through the NFC, and I believe they can win in Philly, Dallas, home field. Doesn't matter when you have a defense like that. And then you get to that one special game. And they're going to need some playmakers in that one special games, whether it's Buffalo, Kansas City, or one of these high-flying AFC teams. And you know what? I'll go roll with Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. And you can play with those guys as well as having that defense. So this is a Super Bowl type of move. It's a big boy move, a bold move.
One
And let's be
question,
honest.
though, for both of you. Are you putting a room on hold in Arizona in February?
No. You got first off,
I might.
qualify
Just
for the
on
playoffs.
hold.
No.
I might. That's my best friend.
Here's the thing.
We got peeps in the area.
However, Big Dog City, do you still have that apartment in Phoenix? I need to rent it out in Glendale when I get down there.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Seriously. It's a big move. I'm
It's
not
a big
guaranteeing anything,
move.
but man, I feel good about this
Yeah,
team right
no
now.
doubt.
I was already tilting myself before the trade. It's like, Niners might beat Kansas City. I think they're going to beat Kansas City on Sunday. Now, Christian's not going to play, but I think that energy, that juice.
Oh, he might play. He absolutely might play. And there's talk of him being a part of the red zone package at the very least. I mean, why can't he play? He lands, you guys mentioned it, he lands in 90 minutes. He goes through a physical, which, by the way, he'll pass. He's been playing.
Yeah.
Physically, he's been physically fit. So he's going to be able to play. So why not throw him in some red zone packages?
So who's going to be down there in San Jose Airport, 10:46 a.m.?
All of them.
Chris Alvarez,
The whole
Casey
team.
Pratt.
Better be
Cancel
Chuck
practice.
Sourdough Sam.
Chuck Walter, our very own
Walter.
Chuck
Yeah.
Walter.
He's going to be
Hi,
down there.
I'm Chuck Walter, and I'm
Hey.
wearing a money tie because
Hey.
I'm going to give you my best bets.
So
Dude, I
Chuck
was
been out there doing
thirsty
work.
for Devone takes last night. I was reffing at Carondelet.
Nice.
Shout out
What did
Homecoming.
Devone
Underrated
say?
basketball program.
Dude,
for girls.
The gym is packed. I walk out of the gym and I put on the radio and I got hot takes from Devone.
I mean,
and I'm
listen,
like,
Devone talking
I'm
about
like, you talking about the trade?
8:30
But
p.m.
what-
You don't get a lot
did
of
he
breaking
like it?
news at 9 o'clock at night. That was a big night
Dude,
for them.
seriously.
Did
Yeah.
he like the trade?
He ripped everyone. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
Uh-oh.
a shocker.
This is just in.
Is it
My
breaking?
dad wants me to tell Dibs. My dad has already rented the Mustang to go down to Glendale.
Let's go.
There you go.
Put me in the middle seat in the back.
So he's
Pop.
gonna try-
I'm a little guy.
So
I
you
can
guys going to
fit.
make that 13-hour drive?
I've done that drive.
Have you seen my dad? Have you
I
seen
did
my
that
dad
drive in
drive?
one day.
But
He
I
was
drove
doing
Flagstaff.
130 on I-5.
It's
130.
brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah.
All right, let me
We
ask
call him
this.
Dale
Look at
Earnhardt Jr.
Shasky
for a
part
reason.
two.
Yeah.
Let me ask this just so that it's not a full Christian McCaffrey party across the board. I do have one question to see how. No, just
What
I wonder.
number is he wearing?
Captain
no,
Buzzkill.
it's not that. Because you guys, I mean, in fact, I even heard you guys talking about Kyle Shanahan and accountability
yeah.
less than an hour ago. So here's one thing that did bounce around in my head. And actually, before I say it, you guys did an unbelievable job getting this YouTube feed to where it is. It has been sitting here tantalizingly
unreal.
close to 1,000.
I know.
All like for the last hour.
And we had to reset the feed.
Yeah, I know.
They're
Listen.
not coming back.
Listen, the energy in the room is great, and if you want to see the show, in addition to listening to the show, go to the YouTube feed right now. The chat is on fire. People are having a ton of fun. We're getting in there as well. So come to the YouTube feed. All you got to do is search 95.7 The Game and just click on the live stream. It's that simple. You don't need to sign up for anything. Just click on it. Boom, you're ready to go.
It's so popular. Grant Cohn's in the comments section just going at it with
Potentially,
people.
unless it's
That's
a
a
fake
troll.
Grant Cohn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
who
it could
knows?
be
Who
one of
knows
those
what it
things.
is?
Who knows? If it's actually
I have a
Grant.
troll
time
on
on
there.
this.
I have a fake troll
All
account
right.
on there.
All right, so what about this,
Rips
though?
my neck every day.
The one thing that we love, maybe not the one thing, there's 1,000 things, but one thing that really stands out about the Golden State Warriors and the light years idea is that it always feels like they're 2 steps ahead of everybody. It feels like they have a plan. Now, when I watch Kyle Shanahan and this group handle the running back position, it feels like you changed your mind every 4 days, is what it feels
But
like.
if I go back to 2018, Jerick McKinnon, the vision was going back to that year.
Right.
8,000 articles on we have this satellite chess piece we can move all
Right.
across the board.
I know, but
He's
if
a
you
poor man's McCaffrey.
Yes.
But if you're using a 3rd-round draft pick 2 years in a row on a running back, followed by
Yeah.
giving up big-time capital the following year for another running back, to go from Trey Sermon to TDP to, oh, by the way, we also
Yeah.
have an established guy who's had success in Eli Mitchell. Listen, I'm just being devil's advocate.
it's
I
just fair.
get that this is an opportunistic situation that you would not have known was
Yeah.
coming, and they jumped, and that's fair. But it also feels like the 49ers at the running back position have changed their mind a bunch of times.
Don't you want them to evolve their thinking over time?
I'm not against it.
Right?
Like
our thoughts on combo guards 10 years ago are not our thoughts on combo guards today in the NBA, for example.
Yeah.
And I think the league is constantly evolving. I look at someone like Tyreek Hill who was out there, and Mike McDaniel straight up said, oh, that particular player is available. He's so unique and will help what I'm doing and help other players. I have to get him at all costs. That's what he said in a Miami article. McCaffrey's so unique. I think you throw a lot of the old thoughts out the window.
And just also, we've been going back and forth about
I
running
know
backs.
what you think. Yeah, I
We've
want to
been
know
going
what you
back
think.
and forth on running backs all season long. We've
Yep.
been going back and forth.
I
But just
believe in
want-
them.
I just want a running back who can catch the ball at the backfield. They haven't had
Agreed.
that. And now, when you get these first downs and second downs, you have a running back who could turn a 2-yard pass into 7 yards, 8 yards. And now you start setting up 2nd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2,
Oh, look.
2nd and 3, instead of being in 2nd and long.
Be ahead of
and
the
then we're gonna
sticks,
be ahead of the
exactly.
sticks.
Yeah.
And this guy can make those plays. It's just having a big boy at running back. I get stars don't help you win Super Bowls, but damn, it certainly helps having a star.
Well, it certainly
New
helped the
York
Rams
Giants.
last year.
Yeah.
They got OBJ and they got Jalen Ramsey, and they brought stars in, and they won the dang thing.
Saquon Barkley's healthy. The Giants are
They look
5-1.
great.
You can't name a wide receiver on the
And
New
Derrick
York
Henry
Giants.
has helped
You know what I'm saying?
Tannehill cash in so much money. Hasn't their opinion, forget running back, on quarterback, we thought he loves a Kirk Cousins. Okay? And then in the draft, he did something a little different that I think was an evolution of his thought process.
He straight debunked that. Like, we've overdone the Kirk Cousins thing because,
Sure.
again, he wanted Kirk Cousins.
Just
Drafted him in
and
Washington.
then we decided he only wants people like Kirk Cousins.
Well, maybe he wanted someone like McCaffrey, and those
Right.
guys just aren't available.
I think he thought Kirk was going to be available. That's someone I can win with, and that was his plan. And we took that to mean Kyle Shanahan only likes a
wants-
Kirk
yeah,
Cousins
yeah.
type quarterback. And he debunked that. Like, before he drafted Trey Lance, he's like, you know who I like? I like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
course.
Like, who doesn't like that?
Yeah.
So, sure.
and then in my head, I'm hearing Bonte, then why didn't you take him at 27?
Yeah,
By
like
the way, the 2017
Not
draft
that was
is
wild.
sneaky one of the best drafts we've seen
Wild.
in a generation. Myles Garrett, number 1 overall. He, by the way, probably still goes number 1
He's
overall.
the all-time leading sack getter for the Browns.
TJ
that's
Watt was a
insane.
late first rounder, and he's got 73 sacks,
Yeah, he's
and
a
he went
superstar.
number 30. I was just going through it in the green room.
I love that draft because we're at the Fox Theater. That was,
Oh, wow, yeah.
I was 6 months into my tenure here in 95-70 game.
The Peacock
First time
Express.
working with Joe Fortenbaugh and Papa. And Papa
Man,
left us
lot of
for about an
peacocking.
hour and a half. And it was Fortenbaugh and I on the stream.
That was an O
for
Canada
night-
production,
in
right?
Oakland. Yep. Spadoni was
Thank
there.
you. Look
Oh, it was
at you.
unbelievable. And with Christian McCaffrey, the Chiefs had traded up, right? And Papa's looking at Fortenbaugh and goes, Fat Andy. He's got to go get Christian McCaffrey.
Fat Andy.
He's got to go get Christian McCaffrey. And just the names that were popping off the board
Yep.
during that draft.
Yep.
It's like, man, this is an all-time draft. You're right, Dibs. 2017 was really, really
Dude,
good.
Leonard Fournette goes 4.
Deshaun.
Jamal Adams goes 6. McCaffrey goes 8. Forget what the Niners did because they made not
Yeah.
1 but 2 mistakes in the first round because now they've made it right.
Yeah.
This is his make good in the 2017
Yeah.
draft.
Mike Williams.
Tre'Davious White was in that
Yeah.
draft. He went
There's been
27th
some
overall to
great players.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Unbelievable draft. That was a fun show.
Here's what I would say. I do think that this guy on this team, like if you want to squeeze the
my
money
God.
out of Debo, like it feels like Debo hasn't had the same pop as last year, and we could argue why that is. But if you want to justify giving him the $25 million in guarantees, other guys got to help open up the field for this guy. And I think that McCaffrey does it on so many levels. This is such a win-win. Yes, it has risk. All these moves have risk.
Sure, all
Every
do.
contract has risk.
I mean,
I'm not denying that.
One thing
I
I
just
will-
love this move.
He gets to play on grass
I
now,
do
too.
Yeah, like one thing I will sort of flatly reject, and you can already just go ahead and predict
What's
this.
that?
Look, the guy is not going to play every game between now and
Nobody does.
2026.
Yeah.
And when that happens, there will be a line of 49er fans there to scream about
I told
how
you so,
idiotic
man.
Kyle Shanahan was to think that we could acquire somebody who's gotten hurt before. Look, Doc Pandy's even talked a lot on social media on our show about drafting players with an injury history. Is this like that? I saw what he was, the interaction he's had with you guys this morning. The injury rate in the NFL each season is 100%.
Exactly.
Like that is
seems
fact.
high.
That's
outside
fact.
of a couple quarterbacks.
No,
And-
but
and the
my
occasional
point is,
punter.
my
Yes.
point is even if they played all the games, doesn't mean they didn't get hurt.
100%.
Sometimes you're able to play through it. Sometimes you're
100%.
not. All of that. But the idea that they have just acquired damaged goods, I flatly reject. Because couldn't I make the case then that they are nothing but a roster of damaged goods?
Exactly.
They all get hurt. There are going to be risks. Christian will get hurt. And he will
Dang.
miss
course.
a game or 2 or 3, and you hope that's it. But he's also completed seasons in this league. This is somebody who has done that. And that's unfair, in my opinion, unless it's just a complete washout for 3 years. But it's unfair to say this is risky because he gets hurt. That's the NFL. That's football. They're all injury prone because they're playing
And his
football.
injuries are not Veretian, where it's ACLs
Out for
and
the year,
Achilles. It's soft tissue stuff, and hopefully he can work his way through that. But you mentioned it. First 3 years, didn't miss a game. He's had injury issues over the last couple. You hope, fingers crossed, that he's able to stay healthy.
Dibs, how do we know Carolina just didn't shut him down to get better draft positioning and say, you know what, this is our long-term asset. he may be able to play through some things. Let's just shut it down.
They might
They were
have,
awful.
yeah.
They may have done that.
Well, yeah, we don't know that. And in fact, like if you think back to the injuries of the last 2 years, one of the years was that. Where it's like he's going to be back next week. No, he's going to be back next week. No, he's going to be back next week.
Yeah.
Oh, it never came back. It was very Mike Trout-esque.
Exactly.
It's like he's about to come back.
Killed my fantasy team.
Right?
Here's
He
what I
never
would say.
did.
My team sucks.
Here's my question to Niner fans about the injury thing.
By the way, speaking of the fans, thank you very much. Up to 1050 on the
Wow.
YouTube chat.
Huge,
So
yes,
thank you.
yes.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Like I think most astute Niner fans would say, hey, they gave up a high second rounder. It was basically a first rounder, a late first rounder for D Ford, and he only played like 350 snaps in 2019. He was hurt, but when he was out there, damn, he was good.
Really
and
good.
it really helped that defense, and they got to where they needed to go. Now, they didn't win the big one, but I think almost every fan would say, as bad as it was and as injury-filled as it was, I'd probably do that trade again. You're giving up probably a lesser draft pick in the valuation chart.
Yeah.
Second rounder from McCaffrey. We think he's going to have more of an impact
Better
than even
player, yes.
a situational D Ford. To me, you do these kinds of trades.
Well, I'm just happy that, and Mark and I have talked about this, and I've been critical of Kyle Shanahan because I've said to Mark one time in my Niner fandom career, I want to say to Kyle, man, that was too risky. You really took a chance.
Right.
And this is that time. And I know it's a John Lynch production,
Yeah.
but Kyle's in on it. And so you look at this move, and I'm happy to say, whoa, this is aggressive, guys. It's an aggressive move.
If you look at acquisitions, they actually have been very aggressive year in and year
They
out,
have.
right? From Emmanuel
Sneaky.
Sanders.
Very sneaky.
And even if it's a
brought that
Menahu,
up.
like it's a smaller
Trey Lance,
pick,
yeah.
right? They've been
Jordan Willis.
very aggressive when it comes to acquisitions. I think you're talking more about like it's 4th and 2
Right.
at the other team's 40-yard line, and you'd like to see him go for that a little bit
Absolutely.
more.
We're
Now
And
give the
I
ball to
get that.
Juszczyk. Give the ball to McCaffrey.
Yeah, well.
Well, now
Yeah,
you
leave
have,
four first down.
now you close your eyes and you think about this offense. Maybe not this Sunday because he won't play a ton, but next week against the Rams, and you think about the weaponry. When they put up that opening graphic, the 49ers starters, it's like you may need 3 pages with all these
Well,
players.
let's talk about
Thank you,
plays like
Dibs.
4th and 1. That's part of what we're talking about here. So if you made it through that insanely boring game last night, flashback to the first half, Arizona Cardinals are facing a 3rd and 8, I think, at the Saints, whatever it was, 11-yard line. They get 7 yards. It's 4th and 1. And I immediately you flash back, if you've been watching the NFL for years, where like people would have to call a timeout and they would sit there and look at each other and, okay, what do you want to do? It's like, I go, watch this. They're not even going to blink. There's no timeout. They're going for it. It's 4th and 1, and they will go for it. And the reason they're going to go for it is Kyler Murray's their quarterback.
Exactly.
And you should, in theory, always be able to get a yard. And I think the 49er offense now starts to become one of those offenses. If I've got Kyle Shanahan calling plays, and I've got Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, how am I not going to get a yard?
I know.
And so maybe one aggressive move, Dibs, moves to another aggressive move, which is aggressive in acquisition leads to aggressiveness on the field. That's my hope.
That's in baby world right now. We have an expression: sleep begets sleep.
Oh.
Meaning, if the
Yeah, it
baby
does.
sleeps,
Yeah, it
it's
does.
gonna lead to more sleep.
That's a fact.
Shout out Mila the last 2 nights. She's been fantastic. But hopefully, you're right, Mark, that aggressive moves begat aggressive moves on the field, because now you're in a spot where you got Christian McCaffrey, you got Debo, you got Ayuk, you got Kittle, you got the various Mitchells and Wilson Juniors if you need him. Go for it now, Kyle, especially against Kansas City this weekend, where you're not going to be able to win this game 11-10.
No, and Andy Reid will go for it on 4th and 1.
Shout out 11-10.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, he will.
Andy
Too
Reid
soon.
will go for
That
it.
was such a good call by
And
you.
Kingsbury
11.
last
Thank
night,
you.
we talk about that game.
So good.
They were very aggressive, Arizona. They
Shocking.
were just going for
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Kingsbury, they were
Aggressive?
playing desperate, but you know
No.
what?
Kyler
I
was
watching that
aggressive
game,
toward his coach's
but I'm not
face.
going to lie to you. This
And they
one-
won a game
Yeah.
the day that Modern Warfare got released.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the shocking thing.
Yeah.
Call
Go
of
ahead.
Duty came out, and Kyler still had a good game.
Yeah,
Still
okay.
focused.
Y'all keep making these jokes
That's
about
solid.
Kyler, man. Kyler's a problem.
Come on, it's
They dropped
funny. The
42.
video
No,
game
it is.
joke is
It is.
funny.
It is
They
funny.
dropped
I
42.
don't like
They
how
got
they do that, though.
they got 2 pick sixes.
They
Make
did get
sure-
2 pick
they got
sixes,
2
but you
pick
know what,
sixes.
though? You know what, though? They get credit for that. We don't complain when the Niners
No,
do that.
no.
And you know what? Arizona got some pop yesterday with DeAndre Hopkins. And
sure.
I'm watching the game thinking, damn, they got Hopkins.
No, they got some juice.
They're back into it. They do have some big-time
I
juice.
guess you guys weren't paying attention.
Oh, yeah, no, we got the juice.
double
Yeah,
entendre.
Yeah, yeah.
He has a DED jump.
Yeah,
You know
you're
what?
running
He
hot
looked
right
right
now.
now. He's running hot. So
All
it
right.
is what it is. It is
All
what
right.
it is. So the Niners got their juice now.
I mean, it does. And here's the other reason I really love this. I love it when I watch people put pressure on themselves.
Yes.
And there's no question that this is a risk. and that Kyle Shanahan and the whole regime have now put pressure on themselves because whether it's even actually true or not, this brings massive expectation.
100%.
Would you not be wildly disappointed if they don't win the division?
Yes.
They were already
Don't
the
even
best.
care about that.
Yeah, but what do you mean you don't care about that?
Because they can go anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, but
and beat
I
anybody.
guarantee
realize
you a
that.
home game.
No, it does guarantee you a home game.
I don't-
And know-
yeah, I'm not
I- I-
talking-
Still be the-
to me, it's not the end all be all. That's all I'm saying.
I hear
Get to
you.
the playoffs with this roster and being healthy. It's just like with the Golden State Warriors. Do we care if the Warriors are the number 1 seed in the West?
It's a
No.
little different.
This is different.
Yeah,
It's
this
not
is different.
It's not about a home playoff game. It's about, dude. You're sitting here right now. We're at week 7.
Easiest path of
You
resistance.
you are clearly the
Yes.
best team of these 4. And that's not even that much of a compliment to the 49ers as much as it is the other 3 teams just have big warts right now.
Exactly.
And you can see them. And you can make the case, I guess, that the 49ers have shown some warts too. But they are, on paper and off paper, they're the best
I
of
agree.
these 4. They already are 2-0
I
in the
agree.
division.
Yes.
They
I agree.
should
Thank you,
win
Mike.
the West.
They should win the division. But if you get into the playoffs, the team is proven. They can beat anybody, anywhere.
I'm still
and the
holding out
NFC's
hope
not
on the
strong.
NFC, though.
Like, you imagine.
I'm not saying like we all like the
imagine
Eagles.
if they go to
look great
Green
today.
Bay?
They could lose a couple of games and boom, you're
of
right
course-
in position to
of
get
course
that
they
bye.
can.
That bye is huge now. I don't know. Maybe
3
I'm
games
just
behind
tripping.
the Eagles. 3 games behind the Eagles.
you
That's
never
gonna be
know.
tough.
You never know.
Yeah,
It's gonna be tough.
You never know.
It's gonna be tough.
The
Yeah.
Arizona was 6-0, 7-0, best team in the league. Did they even make the playoffs?
Yes, they
The
did.
Eagles-
They
I know they
Rams.
lost to
Yeah.
Houston.
The Eagles are very good, but I would not watch their games and say they're just dominating.
Yeah, they're
people.
unbeatable.
They're very good. They're very good, but I also think if you look at their schedule, it gets harder. It gets harder in the second half than
Obviously.
it does. Obviously, then it
Thank
does.
you, always, every
You know what I
time.
mean?
Right when he did the
That
hard
and
harder.
we as an
Well,
organization.
let's
That's
go through the
other one.
schedule. Does it get harder? Pittsburgh at home.
Don't sleep
Pittsburgh
on
stinks.
Mitchie Trubisky.
Come on, Pittsburgh stinks.
Here's
at Houston,
here-
Washington,
right.
at Indianapolis,
Here- no,
at
here-
home against Green Bay,
right
at
there,
home against
right there.
Tennessee.
I want you to
at the New
look
York
at
Giants,
things.
at Chicago, at Dallas,
So,
New
Bonte,
Orleans stinks. The Giants.
I want you
they're
to look
getting
at
home field
Cal-
advantage.
no.
Talk
I want
on
you to look at
95.7
that.
game.
Start on Thanksgiving weekend where they are on Sunday Night Football. I know the Packers don't look right, but that's not not an easy game. So you go Green Bay, Tennessee, the Giants, and the Cowboys are 4 games in a 5-week stretch. That's hard. That's hard. Those are real games.
I will take
Those
my
are
chances.
real games.
I will take my chances against Daniel Jones.
I'm not saying
I
they're
hear you,
like
though.
they're
I
favored
hear
to
you.
get the 1 seed.
It
They're
gets
6-0.
harder, but let's not act like it's a daunting schedule.
No, but the 49ers schedule when you get after the bye gets easier than it is right now.
You get the
They don't-
Chargers in there.
Well, the travel schedule.
The travel
They don't-
schedule's
They
nice.
don't leave.
They already
They
went
don't
for it on
leave.
4th down.
Well, you've got
Exactly.
Arizona, a team that you have trouble beating. You've got them twice, so it's
That's what I'm
not,
saying.
you know.
We
I
laughing at
worry
Kyler.
about Arizona.
No, we can make all the jokes in the world about Kyler Murray not doing his homework and playing Call of Duty. They got Hopkins back. And Rondell Moore looks good. And they made a sneaky trade for Robbie Anderson.
Exactly,
who's not
Robbie
a bum,
Anderson, yeah.
Who's not a bum. So they're going to be there. And they play the Niners tough. We saw Colt McCoy light them up last year.
Just win the
Levi's.
division
those are-
and get
yeah.
a home game.
Those
To
are
me,
games.
that's
Yes.
where the
Those are
bar
games.
is. You
So
know?
Arizona's going to be sneaky, but at the end of the day, if they don't win the division, in my mind, it's not the end of the world.
Not the end of the
Because I know
world.
this team can go anywhere at any time
Absolutely.
to beat somebody with that defense.
Be
Running
great though
game
to
and defense travels.
have 2 home games and then only have to travel to Philly if need be for
Right.
an NFC Championship
They
game.
make it there.
Look,
No, but how sweet
Right.
would that be
And
against a 14-3 Philly?
exactly.
Philly
you
feels
know.
like a home away from home too. I would love to go to the 2-1
Ah.
and stick it to
Oh,
them.
little Philly cheesesteak.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Steve's, Jim's.
Go ring the bell?
Not even Pat and Gino. That's the tour. That's like going
Run
to
up
Christmas
and down
party
like
and
we're
get
rock
club
Yeah.
chowder, you know.
Creed
Could be a fun
3,
show.
Creed 4 featuring Bonte.
There you go. I'm looking forward to Creed 3.
I am
3
too.
looks
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
It's
nice.
fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are you guys
Boys,
talking
good
about?
stuff.
Shit. Well, I tell you what we're going to
Did
say.
you see this report from Larry Kruger?
No, we're talking about the CP,
I
the
did.
CP Cup in
That's what
South
I
Carolina.
did, and I spoke to him last
Yeah.
night, and I can add a little something to that.
I'm excited.
But I also, first thing out the gate, because I know you
Excited.
guys got to
I'm
run. We are going to read for you. I want to read what Kyle Shanahan said this
story time.
morning
Oh,
about Christian McCaffrey's
you were
medical
gonna
report.
Reading
I thought you were
Rainbow.
I thought you were going to read something about Jokic.
No.
Favre chasing
No,
him
no,
tonight.
no.
Nuggets
No.
Warriors.
Yeah.
Come on, Loban's
He
going
was
to be in the
data.
building.
Come on.
In Star
Warriors
Trek.
Nuggets.
Of course.
Big
Yeah.
game.
Big game.
Big
Warriors
game.
Nuggets. Rematch in the first
Someone's
round.
going to be 2-0. Someone's going to be. Did the,
No
did the
defense
Nuggets,
will be
No,
played
they
on
lost to the
Denver
Jazz.
side.
What's
Russell
that?
They lost to the
Westbrook?
Jazz.
Oh my
You
God.
did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God.
All right. Someone's
Wow.
going to be
Down
0-2.
right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. Man. All right.
Have a good one.
Night, night.
All right, boys.